Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tyler Jones. I'll be hosting the segment of In My Opinion. I'm joined today by City Council President, Ms. April Jackson.
How are you?
Also, community activist, Michael Langford. Thanks for
having
joining us all. Today, we're going to go over the recent primary county elections. In doing that, once again, this is simply our opinions on the primary election races within Wicomico County. I'm going to start with the sheriff's race. So we all noticed that Scott Hamilton is no longer going to go through to the general. Yeah. We have Sheriff Mike Lewis, the current incumbent, and Lana Foley moving on to the general elections. My take on that, looking at it, I really felt like Scott would have had a better opportunity if he ran unaffiliated or as a Democrat. I think he had the support community-wide, but not necessarily within the Republican Party. What do you guys think?
I just commend him for even stepping forward, for real. I really do, because for the last, 10, 12 years, no one has ever stepped up to the plate. 20 years has ever stepped up to the plate to run against Mike Lewis. So I commend him for that. I do. I really commend him for that. Mike Lewis, we'll see when you run against Lana.
Any input on that, Michael?
I wish that Miss Foley wasn't running, because then Scott and we could see the race between Hamilton and Lewis. However, in the primary, Lewis clearly dominated that Republican ticket. So, I mean, he clearly, has the support of the county behind him. Okay. Based on the votes.
Yeah.
So are you guys interested to see the sheriff's race in the general election, or do you have any ideas of how you think it might go? Is that something we want to talk about today?
I'm calling it for Lewis now. I don't mind saying that.
I am too. Simply because a lack of experience, and I commend Lana for stepping forward. I really do. Mm-hmm. I really do commend her for it. And hey, I wish her the best. I wish them all the best. But by Mike having that experience and by him getting the numbers and this race, now it may be another turnaround. I don't know, but I'm just saying, the experience is what matters.
Yeah. And I'm going to piggyback off what you said. Maybe there will be a turnaround. Maybe we don't have all the information right now, but as of what I know right now, I truly believe that Sheriff Lewis is going to take it home in the general. Moving right on to the county council elections. Now, these numbers were very surprising. I saw that our host, David James, had come up with the Bridging the Gap predictions prior to the primaries of what a group of us felt like was going to be the turnout. Many of the races we thought would be close, it didn't turn out that way. So starting right with District 1, we had incumbent Councilwoman Shani P. Shields, who ran against Bernadette C. Kennedy. Shani Shields came out on top with 64% of the vote. I thought this race would actually be a lot closer.
I did too. I really did. But because Shani is known in the community, her name is out there in the community, people, voted for her because they didn't know Miss Kennedy. And there were some things that I think that Miss Kennedy should have done to get herself more out there. Like I said before, and I even told her that on this show, you just can't put signs out. You have to knock doors. And this is not a job for wimps. You've got to be forthcoming when you come out here, and I commend her also for running. Anybody that runs for an election, I commend them, because it is a lot of work. It is very stressful. See, a lot of people get into this and they think it's just, they're just going to, it's not that easy. It is nowhere near as easy as people think it is. So, Shani won again, and she's unopposed in the general election, so she's already got her seat.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing that's most of the time with the primary, you don't know who it is, but yeah, it is strange to me that we knocked out Miss Kennedy and they couldn't just move on to both of them running in November. I kind of would have liked to seen that and given Miss Kennedy more time maybe to campaign. But I know Miss Shields is long-term, been there, friendly, open, has those community connections. I've seen Miss Kennedy at a NAACP meeting, so I've seen her out, but I wouldn't. But I I'm not a person that goes to every single community event. I know people that make sure they go to every single one. I'm not going to be able to make every single one. I work. I don't know where Miss Kennedy is. Maybe there's like an aspect with that, but I do think that's a very difficult aspect of running for local election is when you're trying to balance those various commitments, you know, and there are people that can, you know, I don't know, how they can serve best in that way, being out there, getting that visibility.
Well, you know, my question for this district specifically is, with both candidates, did anyone really truly know their platforms? We knew name recognition, but the platforms as far as what they would do for the community. And I will go as far as say, maybe I didn't educate myself, but I have no idea.
Well, I know that Bridging the Gap had an episode with Miss Bernadette Kennedy, and she told what her platform would be, and how helpful she would want to be in the community. Now, I don't know about Shaney because I saw her on the show one time on Bridging the Gap. And a matter of fact, it was both of them, wasn't it? It was both of them, and I just was like, okay, nobody said anything about the platform. They just spoke about what they wanted to see, but not things directly, what they wanted to have impacted.
Any comments on that one, Michael?
I think that's part of why we're seeing more calls for candidate forums, because people want to hear what you're specifically going to do. You know what I mean? How you specifically want to make impact to the community. Because we can all, you know, there's, I mean, it's like those AI posts where people just like, it's about good government is about transparency and accountability and showing up for people in ways that matter. And it's just like these kind of like empty rhetorical devices that don't mean anything. Like, where's your action item? What's your actual platform of how you're going to make an impact that will, I understand that people can't, you know, reach out and touch every single person in their district, but there should be a way in which you understand the system as a whole and how that's going to impact individuals. You can operate within that system to get results for people. That's I want to see candidate forums that discuss the people's platforms in that way, specifics, not, you know, oh, we mean well. Well, we all mean well. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And I'm thinking that hopefully at the general, before the general, they'll have some forums, but I think the forums should have come in the primary, you know, because you might have boot somebody out that had more going for them than another, but you'll never know now because most of them are gone. So, you know, I mean, I congratulate everyone who won, but it's a lot of work to this. It's a whole lot of work, and I tell anybody that is campaigning, running for office, is more work than you can even imagine. It takes a community. It takes that village. It takes everything that you have to walk, knock, speak, have community events and things of that sort to get your name out there. And what the main thing for me is going where the people are. Going where the people are. You can't always expect for them to come to you. You go to them.
I love that. So moving right along to District 2, unless you guys have more comments on District 1.
No,
All right,
fine.
District 2, we had, I'm only talking about the contested races. I understand that there was a Democratic candidate, no opponent. District 2, if we look at the Republican side of things, we had Patrick Atkins, and we also had James Wynn. James Wynn took it home 70% of the votes.
Yeah.
Also, something else, I guess, I was expecting James Wynn to win. I wasn't expecting 70% of that win.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I never knew who Patrick Adams was at all. I had James Wynn is another one who's been a face on the council, so people are familiar with him.
Yeah.
And people are looking at, I'd rather have somebody that I've seen move and work than somebody who hasn't. And that's how people are looking right now.
I think I noticed that, I don't know if with all the mail-ins, but in that district, it was James Wynn and Patrick Atkins on the Republican ticket, and Jim Atkins is running on the Democratic. I noticed James Wynn had more votes than the other two combined. So I think while there's some, I don't think we need to think that all of Patrick Atkins, all of his votes will automatically go to Mr. Wynn, but I know Mr. Jim Atkins, who's a great community member and person who cares, he's going to have a lot of work though cut out in that district if he really wants to win, and that's really what the primary showed is like, his need to get out there with people more and connect to a wider group of people because James Wynn obviously has put in that work to get that 70% on the primary is a lot. That's a lot.
I think he also got a Central Committee win too, even though we're not reviewing Central Committee, but kudos to him.
Yeah.
Any more comments on District 2? No. All right, I'm going to move right along to District 4. And once again, anyone that's not contested, we're not really talking about here. But we had Aaron Guy and we had Aaron Patterson. I believe that both of these individuals were covered in the initial primary, what we thought, how the race would turn out. And we were actually wrong with this projection. Aaron Patterson brought it home with a little over 50% of the votes. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with either. I do know that Aaron Guy is a local business owner. Aaron Patterson, I just heard of her recently, but congratulations.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I can fill in the gap a little bit on it. So Aaron was recently in the...
Which Aaron are we talking about?
Sorry, I know. Right?
Aaron or
Miss Patterson. Right.
Okay, there we
Miss
go.
Patterson. So Miss Patterson was most recently in the Salisbury Citizens Police Academy with me and April. And she was there every single time that I was there. She's a very nice, polite woman. I believe that she's a mother... and I think maybe teacher. But yeah, as far as I know that she is running very grassroots and very word of mouth. I don't know what her network is, but obviously that's working for her at this point.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, I don't. I know I've extended an offer to help her as far as like make it. We were talking actually about having her come to an art night and us helping make like campaign signs because she's doing a very grassroots effort, and I really commend that. Like when somebody runs and they run, it's not always about. It matters what people believe, of course, but it's like if they sincerely want to make a difference and they're running and they are who they say they are, I'm like it becomes less about. It's about that serving the community rather than what somebody individually believes. So I'm not putting her under a microscope in that way, but willing to help people grassroots that are trying to run here because I think we need more of that.
Well, for me, I do not know either one. Honestly. Now, she was probably in our Police Academy class, but I never had the opportunity to meet her. So I have nothing to say about any of these two because I really don't know them. And before you talk about people, you need to know something about them. So I can't say anything.
Completely understood. But that goes back to our point earlier saying that it was a necessity to have more forums so that we will be informed and can make an informed decision.
And you can have a forum, and I'm going to be honest with you. I always tell people don't promise anything you can't give.
Yeah.
Don't make promises you can't keep. So forums are good. They're really good. But a lot of times, even with forums, you can find out about the person themselves. But the attributes that they want to give to the community doesn't always work out that way, because I'm seeing right now for the 10 years I was on there, all the things that I were working towards are just being implemented here in the last year or two, and I'm grateful for that, but when you get in office and you have those kind of things, people need to know you don't give up on it. You stay with it. You don't give up on it. You keep pressing that. You keep pressing that way, and sooner or later something's going to break, and you're going to have your little breakthrough, and you'll get what you want. But just because it doesn't happen when you think it should happen doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Moving along to District 5, we had Ben Jordan, and we also had Joe White. Joe White actually ended up bringing in 62.21% of the overall votes. No offense to Mr. Jordan, who is the current president of Delmar, I totally expected this race to go that way.
Yeah, I like Ben. Ben is a very nice guy. He's the mayor of Delmar, Maryland. And he's a nice guy, and I probably would have thought, I think I met Mr. Joe White before on, what's the talk show they used to have?
Open Agenda.
Open Agenda. I met him before, and he seemed to be a very nice guy, so, I congratulate them both, and, Ben's got his work cut out for him being the mayor of Delmar.
I think I know between being a business owner and then all that he does with recreational sports with kids, Joe White just had really good coverage in the county because he's been working, like Jermichael, with youth for a long time. So it's like that really, once you work with people's kids in that way, you get to meet a lot of families.
Yeah, you do.
And that really, I think, if I were to guess, just, it's not just that he ran the campaign well, but it's that, I think in that case, Mr. White, nothing against Mr. Jordan, but
Correct.
But just I think Mr. White's already like an established member of his community, and very visible.
Yeah,
So when he ran, that really, he does, I think, represent a lot of people here.
Yeah.
I think that's why he came out on top.
Okay. And once again, District 6 was not contested in the primary, so we're going to skip over that. District 7. Once again, not contested, but I want to talk about the individuals because we did have Ross Evans, Republican side, Megan Alton, Democrat, and we have Joe Venosa, who didn't show up on the primary because he's unaffiliated. He will be president in general. Having those three people, I think, is very dynamic people, and I think it's worth a discussion. I'll let one of you lead this, and I'll follow up with my thoughts.
Michael?
So one of the things that was surprising to me is I know, full disclosure, helping Mr. Venosa with his campaign and being a friend with him. I think it is very curious to me, but seeing the I call it the sign wars going on in District 7. If you've been to District 7, then you know that people are running for office because there are signs more there than I feel like in a greater concentration than anywhere else. And I know that Miss Alton is really campaigning and knocking doors, as is Mr. Venosa. So I was very surprised that, given that on the day of voting, Mr. Ross Evans actually had more votes, different tickets, right? But there were more people that voted for Mr. Evans than there were Democrats that voted for Miss Alton. So I found that because personally, and no offense to him, I don't know the man, and I don't know his platform or what he stands for. I haven't seen him on any of the PAC-14 shows. I haven't seen him at any forum. They haven't had forums, but they're to my point, I haven't seen him at community events. I've never had the opportunity to have an introduction. I wouldn't know if I passed him on the street.
I do want to rebuttal that one part, though, before you finish.
Okay.
I did see Ross Evans when they had like a day in the park where all the candidates met. They met in their specific districts. I did notice that Ross didn't have a table. As far as I noticed, he didn't have any campaign materials. So you could definitely go up and talk to him. He was present. But if you wanted to just carry away something, that wasn't an option.
See, and I was there with you.
You remember?
On that day. I don't remember him. So that tells you about his campaigning. Because I feel like, not to be big of myself, but I feel like he knows who I am. You know what I mean? If you're in the political scene in the last 2 years, then you probably heard my name. I don't know this gentleman. I don't know his platform. If you're running for office, you got to be able to reach across the aisle. You got to be able to, not that I'm even in any camp, right? But if you know that there are people that are movers and shakers and people that you probably want to meet those people. I did not know he was at that park that day. And I was there the whole time. I was playing soccer with the kids.
But sometimes people don't know how to campaign.
Well, he was very friendly to his opponent.
That's one thing. He might have been friendly, but he probably financially doesn't even have I'm not saying it's anything bad, I hope, but he may not have even had the financial backing to even bring out brochures or anything.
Good point.
So I look at things like that, and I always tell people, if you need help, ask for it. Ask for it. You'd be surprised who would come in and actually help you with some of the things, because I'm going to tell you, I do my own flyers, my own brochures. I do everything myself. I make my own stuff, and this how I hand it. The only thing I don't make are my signs or my banners, but, and I run off of a campaign budget of $1,000 every year. But guess what I do? Pick my signs up and bring my signs home and put them in my storage, because I don't want to keep mine, because signs are expensive, and I'm not being cheap. I'm just being cautious and careful about spending, and I've become that way as I've gotten older. So maybe he didn't have that educational part, and a lot of people, like I said, think is simple. It's not simple when you're out here campaigning and you become a candidate. You have to be forthcoming. You have to be, because when I first ran, I had my stuff, but I was really laid back. I was kind of laid back, kind of like laid back, and I'm watching everything and I'm watching everybody, and I learned from my first run. I actually learned from it. So, this is a learning experience for everybody who has done it and is new at it. This is a learning experience, and hopefully the next 4 years you'll be able to just come in and what you messed up on. You can critique your own self. You know what you need. You know what your backing is. You know who you can go for help, or you ask for help. Because like I said, a closed mouth never gets fed. A closed mouth never gets fed. So if you need help, ask for it. Ask the people who have campaigned before you, who are no longer campaigning anymore. Some of the older guys that have dropped off of the counts are dropping off. Ask them for help. Ask them for support. Ask them for wisdom and guidance, because they're the ones who can give it to you. They know what it is to go out here and walk these streets and knock on doors. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't see a lot of them doing that anymore either. For real, I really don't see that as like I did. But that's one thing I will do. I'll walk.
I want to thank you for that perspective, because I've misspoke a couple of times here. Number one, with the campaign materials, you're absolutely right. And then there was another point that you made earlier on. I can't even think about it right now. But hopefully we do get an opportunity to actually sit down and hear from these candidates, hear their positioning and what they can do for us moving forward. Because a lot of these, congratulations to everyone that did make it through to the general.
Yes.
But I would like to know more about you.
Yes.
Yes. Any final thoughts on, in my opinion?
No.
It was exciting. That's for sure. Watching the results come in, it was a lot of people. Like you said, we didn't expect all these results. So I think that like how some of them shook out, how much people came out for certain individuals. I mean, I think that's encouraging to me. I think it's discouraging for the people who lose, but when you really think about who's going to be effective at representing people, when you can get a majority of the vote, 70, 80, 90%, that means you got a lot of backing. It's a lot of pressure, and that can be a lot, but it means that there's a lot of people there. What Ms. Jackson just said, if those people, when they have 70, 80% of the vote supporting them, when they ask for help, it ought to be there somewhere, and that's encouraging for the final outcomes for the people, which is what all these elections are about. They're not actually about those individuals, but about the outcomes for people at the end of the day.
Yeah, your family has to come into play, because this will affect the family as well, before and after. So if the family is for you, your family should also support you in every way they can. Your family and your friends. You can't tell me you got true friends if they won't support you doing this, because I'm gonna tell you something. It's a lot of work, and if they care anything about you, they're going to help you.
All right, thank you for joining us for this segment of In My Opinion. The next segment will be with our host, Mr. David James.